Hi, I'm James Robertson. I call myself the ERP Doctor, and I'd like to share with you a few points regarding my 7-step process for achieving a high-value ERP implementation outcome. And this applies whether you're dealing with your existing ERP or whether you're dealing with a new implementation. I call the outcome a Thrive outcome because it increases the effectiveness and efficiency of the management of the organization, leading to improved profitability, improved competitiveness, and sometimes to quite significant further growth. I'd like to share with you a contrasting point to start with, a confidential interview with the CEO of a FTSE 100 company. Please rate your big brand ERP on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is couldn't be worse anywhere in the world and 10 is couldn't be better. And he said, well, operationally, I'd give it 8 out of 10 because the business is running well from a process perspective. But from a strategic information point of view, I'd give it a 1 out of 10. And so we see that strategic focus is critical, but the fact is that I found that it's largely not understood. And the fact is he's not alone. Google search a few weeks ago, Gartner, 55 to 75% of ERPs do not deliver what was promised. Why is that? There's a bunch of issues, and I'd like to invite you to my masterclass where I will discuss the issues and give you some solutions. The details are at the end of this presentation. So we've seen that strategic decision support is critical. It's the most important outcome, but it's generally underrated and not really successfully accomplished. How did I learn that high-value outcomes were possible? On the first project that I did, the client was able to double their turnover in 12 months because they could do things that their much larger competitors couldn't do. A number of other successful projects. Case study, the auditors just left after 6 weeks. Last year they were here for 6 months. We have masses of management information. Profitability has improved. Another case study, facilitated growth, new distribution center, a necessity, secured the deorder account, which is a major prestige account, immediate 12% revenue uplift. I learned that failure was the norm. I spoke at a conference on the success we'd achieved. The CEO came up to me afterwards and said, we don't have that, please will you help me? So I investigated and turned that around. I've been doing that ever since. Dozens of investigations and turnarounds that I've done over the years. And after a while, I kept encountering the same issues. So I started offering a service that I call a pulse measurement, which is a concise diagnostic intervention that gives you ±7 weighted findings and ±7 recommendations which are actionable, and frequently clients are able to implement those recommendations on their own because they're so practical. Sat down after some time and analyzed in depth all the information I'd gathered, came up with 7 critical factors that cause failure and 7 critical factors for success, and wrote the book of the same name. Based on that, I started delivering courses and briefings, and I've done many of those, and so I really know my material pretty well. A few pulse measurement clients, all in South Africa, and what I've found since I got to the UK is that the issues are the same and the solutions are the same. I'm an engineer, graduate engineer by training, and so I've brought an engineering approach to my work, and what I realized after a while is that engineers do not design bridges to stand up, they design bridges not to fall down. And so the focus in an ERP project is to make sure that the ERP project does not fail, which means that you need to consider everything that causes failure. And I'm going to touch on those in the next few minutes. You may say, why are you so negative? Why do you talk about failure? Well, because I'm an engineer and I design ERP implementations not to fail. One of the key issues is the lack of strategic alignment. I identified that many years ago, tried to define strategy in one sentence, couldn't do it, went looking and came across the work of Professor Malcolm MacDonald, who says that strategy is doing the right things viewed from the customer's perspective, and tactics is doing things right. He says if you do the right things well, your organization will thrive, and that's where my logo comes from. If you do the right things not so well, your organization will survive. If you do the wrong things, your organization will die. It's just a matter of how quickly, and the better you get at doing the wrong things, the faster your organization will die. And on the masterclass, we'll talk about a couple of case histories of organizations that died fast because they did the wrong things with ERP. And conversely, if you do the right things with ERP, as with those case studies I just showed you, you get some significant benefits. What is strategy? My definition. I also investigated the work of Professor Michael Porter, differentiation, Dr. Michel Robert, strategic driving force, and I concluded that strategy is the essence of why the organization exists and how it thrives. It's a holistic, integrated picture of how the entire organization fits together and interoperates with the external environment to produce a thrive outcome. I identified also a lack of taxonomies. I have a background in zoology, engineering, nature document filing system. And so when I started implementing ERPs, I just naturally started setting up hierarchies, and I thought that was the only way to do it until I discovered that almost nobody does it that way. So what's the answer? I undertook a comprehensive review of everything I've learned, all that went well, all that went wrong. Designing ERP implementations not to fail, came up with the 7-step recipe, which I'm going to touch on in a minute. And it's also applicable to ERP remediation. Folks, it doesn't matter how badly implemented your ERP is at the moment, you can do something about it. In the extreme case, you might have to re-implement. If you're thinking about scrapping it and starting again, hear what I have to say on the masterclass before you make a decision. So the 7-step recipe, there it is. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a few minutes. Stepping back to causes of failure, the FTSE 100 company that I spoke about earlier, there's their chart of accounts, absolutely horrible, no structure, no logic, no wonder that the CEO is saying that it's a 1 out of 10 from a strategic decision support point of view. The material group code, same organization, same situation, absolutely horrible, no logic, no structure, and we'll talk on the masterclass about why that's such a problem and what's required to fix that. Another example for another company, another ERP, credit note reason codes, couldn't answer all their questions because the table was inadequate, and replaced that with a meaningful table. Another client, a golfing client, couldn't get answers to their questions because the data wasn't in the database, and we'll talk about how you fix that as well. Cubic business model, something that I've developed based on functionality that is available in just about every ERP, doing it at a level of precision that most people are not aware is possible. And I've done a lot of R&D there as well. This is the face of an actual cube for a moderate-sized organization. Each of those little boxes represents a business unit, and in that you have precise information about the running of that business unit, provided, of course, that you set it up correctly. And that comes back to this precision configuration. So I have software to help maintain the precision of the configuration and build that. I guess you'd call it artificial intelligence. It's just a rule-based software. And this is the mapping the new codes to the old codes. Coming back to this thing that I call precision configuration, the bottom line is, folks, if you push the envelope right across to the right of the screen to 100% precision, you then climb up that exponential curve to rank a 10 out of 10 for strategic competitive business value and profitability. If you slip down that curve down to the bottom left and you end up with a 1 out of 10, as per the FTSE 100 company that I was talking about, well, you like that CEO, you've got an army of highly paid people who are producing the board pack, or else you go out of business, which I've seen happen as well. So what are our 7 steps? Number 1, lock in CEO custody, engage a strategic ERP project leader, distill the strategic essence of the business, remediate or procure, make a decision, develop your precision ERP configuration, prove it works, make it work. That will give you a thrive outcome, provided it's correctly applied and correctly implemented. It'll deliver a world-class strategic effectiveness, leading to improved profitability and growth, in other words, a thrive outcome. And I'll explain how this works on the master. Why you should work with me. I'm an engineer and executive with extensive first-hand experience turning around failed and suboptimal ERP implementations. I'm a consultant with a unique 7-step recipe for unlocking the full potential of your ERP investment. The outcome is fast, accurate, strategically aligned. enhanced executive decision support, immediate answers to every question, minimizes dependency on external consultants. Next steps. You're invited to register for my 4-hour executive briefing on the 30th of May 2025. Special offer £490 if paid by the 16th of May 2025, else £980. Alternatively, you can register a senior manager to attend my free, no-obligation 90-minute masterclass, where I will outline my unique 7-step recipe to unlock the full potential of your ERP investment. See the subsequent slides. Please reply to the email with which this video link was transmitted. I encourage you to take action now, learn the recipe. It's been said, if you do not act on a new idea within 48 hours, you probably never will. Email me now for my free masterclass outlining the 7-step ERP success recipe with tips for immediate action. To obtain a link to the masterclass, please reply to the email which delivered this link. Also reply for the 4-hour executive briefing. I guarantee that the person who attends the masterclass will take away at least one action that your organization can apply immediately. In the masterclass, I will take you through the ERP Doctor 7-step recipe for ERP success. I will explain each step in the process. I will give you pointers for actions you can take immediately. I really believe this is a high-value opportunity. No obligation, no fee for the masterclass. So I encourage you to go for it and take it up immediately. Please reply to the email that this link was sent to you on. I look forward to meeting you.